Welcome to the college football closing line for Sportsbook Review. I'm Ian Cameron, joined as always by the big man on campus, Jeff Nadeau, as we break down every college football game on this Saturday card, as we always do each and every Saturday. Big man, how are you this morning?
I'm doing great, Ian. How are you?
Doing excellent, ready to rock and roll and talk college football. Before we do that, though, we do have some housekeeping we need to do for SBR. We have to remind you of the poker tournament live next Wednesday, November 14th, 9 p.m. Eastern Time, sponsored by the good friends at uwager.eu. Our own big man on campus will be part of that poker tournament. I'm sure he's going to pump his tires right here, telling you how he's going to win this thing on Wednesday night. He's joined by Donnie Rightside, going to be in it. Whale Capper's going to be in it. Jimmy the Bag's going to be in it. Natalie Rydstrom's going to be in it. A whole great collection of people. You are also welcome to join it. You have to be a member at uwager.eu. Be signed up there. Reminder that if you want to join this poker tournament, you have to register. It opens at 7 p.m. Eastern next Wednesday. Registration 2 hours before the tournament begins, which is at 9 p.m. next Wednesday, November 14th. The poker tournament will be streamed live here at Sportsbook Review. Should be a lot of fun. Big man, you excited for it? You looking forward to hopefully taking the big money?
Yeah, it should be fun. I've played poker for a lot of years, so yeah, I'm looking forward to it. It'll be fun and something new here at the channels, and yeah, I think people should get involved with it.
All right, excellent. You know what's also fun is cashing tickets, and hopefully we're able to do that here on this Saturday. Yes.
Hey, Ian. Also, point of contention with the poker tournament: if you play in it and you knock one of us out, you actually get $100 as well. It's a bounty tournament, so
yes,
there are people that have bounties on their head. So yeah, I mean, come in. Maybe you can at least get a bounty. You're not going to win because I'm going to, but you can try to knock me out.
Yeah, absolutely. $100 for each person, I believe, you knock out in that poker tournament, which is a it's a unique, different, kind of fun way to do it. So definitely, if you want to join that poker tournament, next Wednesday night is when it is. Make sure you sign up. 7 p.m. Eastern registration opens for the SBR poker tournament next Wednesday. All right, let's get to college football. Temple and Houston, very, very good AAC matchup to begin the card. Houston laying 4, total 69-70 in this game. One thing I've noticed with Temple, defensively solid, but when you get them up against some better, more potent, more high-powered offenses, they've had their share of struggles this season. UCF moved the ball at will against them. Remember, they struggled early in the season against Buffalo. I think they're going to struggle here against this Houston offense, which has been absolutely terrific most of the season. On the flip side, I like what the strides they've made offensively. They can run the football. I think they found a little something in Anthony Russo at the quarterback position, who's been a little step up from Newtile at that spot. And Houston's defense can still give it up a little bit too. So the over definitely makes some sense. Houston, to me, is still a team I'm a little sketchy on laying points. I did it against South Florida because I thought South Florida was a fraud. It worked out well. But against Temple, I'm not as in love with laying the points here with Houston. I'm more inclined to look over the total. I think both offenses can have success here.
Yeah, I mean, I think the offenses will have success. I mean, you got to wonder where Temple would have been against UCF if they didn't have 14 penalties. They may have won that game. That's a lot of penalty yards. But you're looking at what Temple does defensively. They're not good against the run. They're good against the pass, but they've done a nice job of dealing with mobile quarterbacks. Mackenzie Milton, 19 yards. Tyree Jackson, 3 yards. Cincinnati's Desmond Ridder, -2 yards. They've done a pretty good job at controlling these mobile quarterbacks and are very good against the pass, 6th in the country. I'm not a big Houston guy. I think they're a little bit they're inconsistent. They're not good defensively. They have the worst pass defense in America. I'm going to lean with the Owls here. I think they get a cover, but I think there's some scoring as well for sure.
And Ed Oliver will be back in this game as well for the Houston Cougars. Obviously, we know how good he is on the defensive side. He's gotten a lot of talk. We'll see how good he can be. Michigan Rutgers. Michigan 37.5 on the road, 46.5 the total. How about a 37.5 point road favorite in a game where the total's 46.5? How about that? That tells you Rutgers ain't expected to do shit offensively here in this game, and it's going to be tough for them to move the ball. Don't really have much on this game. I'm not laying more than 5 touchdowns with Michigan on the road against anyone, regardless of how bad Rutgers is. But, if Bet365 posts one of those win-to-nil bets for Michigan, I'd be inclined to take a little something on that. I don't know if Rutgers scores in this game, but I'm not involved here, big man. What do you think?
Yeah, the team total for Rutgers is 3.5. So I mean that's all you need to know. Um, yeah, look, I think the play here would probably be Michigan team total over. I think Michigan pushes 50 in this game. I still think for them, it is about going out and putting something together on the road. Rutgers are really bad. You still have to play 60 minutes, and I don't think Rutgers can move the football. This is the best defense in the country versus arguably the worst offense. I've said all week I think Rutgers gets shut out. I would probably lay the points here. I think this is like a 48-3 type of game. I think Michigan crushes Rutgers. But hey, all you need for a team total win in this game is some kind of blocked punt or something weird. So yeah, I'm going to lean team total over for Michigan. I think they score more than 42 points.
Yeah, this could be a very, very long afternoon for the Scarlet Knights. Part of a long season overall for them. Virginia Tech, Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh laying 3.5 at home, total 54 in this game. Pitt's one of those teams that's very simple to handicap them, especially offensively. If they can run the ball successfully, it's a very good football team. They had a very good win last week against Virginia, won outright on the road. In fact, this is what Pitt did last year. They got hot late in the season. They played their best football down the stretch. They covered numbers down the stretch. They're doing the same thing this year. They beat Duke. They hung tough and took Notre Dame right to the brink in a game recently as well. And then they beat Virginia outright on the road as an underdog last week. Pitt is peaking right now. And again, if they can run the football, they can move the ball and put up points. They should be able to here. Virginia Tech run defense has been abominably bad in recent weeks. They couldn't stop Georgia Tech. They were shredded by Georgia Tech in that triple option, shredded by Boston College and A.J. Dillon last week on the ground. It's bad news going up against the dual running backs, Darren Hall and Kadri Allison, that the Pittsburgh Penguins, wrong sport, Pittsburgh Panthers have at their disposal. Kenny Pickett is definitely a better quarterback when he's got a run game that works. They should move the ball against Virginia Tech. You got to worry about Virginia Tech now. I mean, they've had bad losses now in a row. They're starting to tap out on the season. I'm getting that thought. Pitt, by the way, great articles I read. Players, the game that kept them out of a bowl game last year was a loss to this Virginia Tech team. They got stuffed on the goal line. They lost 20-14 in that game. Pitt players say, we want to get back at Virginia Tech, and I think they're now a better team. And Virginia Tech is a worse team. I think Virginia Tech is going in the wrong direction. I don't like a lot of the body language, a lot of the signs I'm seeing from them. They got to now go on the road here, face this Pitt team. Pitt, believe it or not, controls their own destiny for the ACC championship game. They can win their division and be in that title game if they control their destiny and take care of business. Obviously, they probably have no shot beating Clemson, but they would at least get there in the ACC championship game. I like Pitt here. I think, again, they'll be able to do what they want offensively, and they're the hot team. Virginia Tech's not.
Yeah, I agree with you. I don't have much more to say. I mean, you pretty much said it all. I think there's a lot to play here for Pitt. They're at home. You also ask yourself, I mean, what has Virginia Tech really shown you this year? Defensively, they aren't very good. I like Pittsburgh. I would agree with you on that. I think they win, kind of maybe like last year, 2014, 27-14. I'm going to go with Pitt as well. I agree with you.
All right, the big one, Clemson, one of the big ones, Clemson, Boston College, Clemson 18.5. Some BC money has come in the last 24 to 48 hours. Total just been hammered down. This thing opened at 61. It's now 51. I remember our pal Drew Martin on the roundtable liking the under in this game, and I think it was 57 at the time. It's down to, at least he got a good number, win or lose. He's got a better number than what's out there now. You can see there's concerns. I mean, there's concerns about Boston College offensively in this game. Can they run the football with A.J. Dillon against this elite Clemson defensive front? I'm not sure they can. But on the flip side, you got Trevor Lawrence, Georgia native, playing in weather conditions and elements that he has never played in his life. I mean, they're not sugarcoating it. He's flat out. The coaches are saying it. He's never played in this type of weather. We're going to have to figure out which way the wind's blowing. Current forecast shows temperatures below 40 degrees Fahrenheit, winds upwards of 20 miles per hour at kickoff tonight in Chestnut Hill. It's going to be some elements to deal with for a Clemson team that's not used to dealing with these kind of elements. I think it's inflated toward Clemson, but I don't trust the matchup enough for Boston College in terms of their ability to run. I'm just not sure they can. And if they can't run, I don't know if Anthony Brown can do anything offensively through the air, because I don't think he's a very good pocket passer. So to me, if Dillon gets shut down, it's going to be tough for BC. That being said, at this number, I think there's definitely inflation with Clemson beating up on a lot of weak teams and bad teams lately, like Louisville and Florida State. Lead Boston College, but I don't love it. The under has been getting a lot of money, and I'm starting to see why that might be. It could be a game where, again, with Trevor Lawrence as good as he's been, these are elements he's not faced in his career to this point.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of different things in this game, but you look at the one glowing issue. Can Boston College run the football? I don't think they can. This is a Clemson defense that's up front very good. I think if Anthony Brown can throw the football, they have a chance to put some points up, but I'm not jumping in front of Clemson. The weather's not great. But that's something that you have to obviously get past. I'm sure they practiced out in it, a day or two, and they're a smart enough team to understand how to deal with that. It'll be tough, but yeah, I'm not really stepping in front of Clemson. Clemson has owned Boston College the last few years. It hasn't even been close. 34-7, 56-10, stuff like that. I don't really have much opinion on this game, but I'm not really looking to step in front of Clemson.
Mississippi, Texas A&M. A&M laying 13 at home, 67.5, 68 the total. I'm not sure I can. It's hard to take an Ole Miss game under. The defense is bad. The offense is somewhat capable at times, but they've been hit or miss. Some weeks they've moved the ball, some weeks they haven't. I think they're in tough here against A&M. I was looking to lay the points with A&M, but it's gone up a little bit. It's 13. It's getting high now, maybe a little too high, but I would look to A&M before Ole Miss in this game.
I actually disagree. I like Ole Miss in this game. I think they can hang around here. You look at Texas A&M, not good as far as a passing defense. They're not great. They give up a lot of big plays. Mississippi is a team that, they're really not playing for anything. They can't make a bowl game. So, as far as because of sanctions, but, look, we all know they're a high-end passing offense. Most people will kind of just look at the fact that A&M give up 22 points a game, but they have struggled in the passing game. And this is a high-end passing offense. I don't know. I was hoping to get 14 in this game. We're only getting 13. I'll lean Texas A&M or Ole Miss at this point. I think they can hang around and maybe get in the back door. Texas A&M doesn't win very often by a lot. You look at their numbers this year. I think the only big win they've had was against UL Monroe. So they haven't exactly blown anyone out either. There's a lot of points to lay against a good offense, and you have a bad pass defense. I think Ole Miss can stay within this 13-point impost.
Kentucky, Tennessee. Man, is this one interesting. Kentucky laying 5, 42.5, 42 in this game. I get a sneaking suspicion Tennessee can win this game. I don't know why. This is not a good football team. How can you like this spot for Kentucky? You're on the road. You got beaten down by Georgia. Your SEC East hopes are out the window now. Let down city, it smells like, for Kentucky. They're still a one-dimensional offense. Not a great passing quarterback in Wilson. They need his ability to run. And, of course, Benny Snell to be able to move, a great running back to be able to move the ball. Tennessee's been sneaky competitive, in some of these games. It did beat Auburn. They were right in the game against South Carolina. This smells like a Tennessee spot all the way. I think Kentucky's the better team, the more well-rounded team. And if they're focused, they could probably cover, but I don't trust them to be focused. I get a weird sneaking gut feel that Tennessee covers in this game. Might even pull the outright win, to be honest, for as bad as things have gone at times for the Vols this season.
I'm not going to get much into this game. I think the game goes under. I think it's a low-scoring game. I think it's a game played where first to 20 wins. Both of these teams are really good on defense. Quarterback plays erratic at times for Terry Wilson and, for whoever plays quarterback for Tennessee. I'm going to go under 42. I think it's a boring football game. First to 20 wins.
Yeah, definitely could be points at a premium there. BYU, UMass. BYU 14, 57.5, 58 the total. You wonder how UMass is going to stop BYU in this game. Their offense has perked up since the quarterback change, playing a little bit quicker. I think it's going to be tough for UMass. Not a very good team defensively. They've been that way pretty much all season long. Can Ross Comas now in this UMass offense trade fire? Let's be honest. This is now going to be a step up in class for UMass for their offense against this BYU defense here. They faced a lot of bad defenses recently, this UMass team. I was looking to lay with BYU here. It's 14 now. It's getting a little pricey. I don't think there's much of a bargain now, but I think UMass is up against it here.
I have a soft spot for UMass. I've been involved in a lot of their games this year. They're a great over team. I was on them last week over the number. And by the way, Ian, we did have both of our plays cash in last week, our plays of the day. So tune in at the end. You'll get those. We've done pretty well with giving those on the spot. But yeah, as far as this game, I think UMass is just too good offensively. I don't know that BYU can handle this. This is a good. I don't know if they can keep up. This Cougar team not good offensively, and it doesn't really matter who they put in at quarterback. And UMass is a quick, straight offense. They go quick. Andy Isabella is the best receiver no one's heard of. The guy had over 300 yards last week. I think they can hang around. I think 2 touchdowns is a lot, especially for an offense like this. I think it could be a fun one. I kind of like the over in this game. I think BYU will move the ball. I mean, UMass are that bad on defense. 57.5 a bit low. The only concern you'd have is the weather. But other than that, I think we see some points here. And I think UMass can stay in the game. I think they lost last year to this team. The only thing that's concerning is the weather. But I think Mass can hang around, and I think the game goes over.
All right, very good. Next up, we've got Liberty against Virginia. Virginia 24, 59 the total. What do you get from Virginia? Very disheartening loss at home to Pitt last week. But again, Pitt's starting to play their best football, as we talked about. Can Virginia bounce back? If Virginia's focused and ready to go, they can do whatever they want offensively here in this game. I think with Bryce Perkins and this and that dual threat quarterback for Virginia, I think he can get things going. Liberty, not a very good defense, but Liberty's always got the potential to punch in a score or two with that pass offense they have, and they might be able to do that here in this game. This is another game where, on paper, it looks like you might see some points scored. 59 the total. Hard to go under with Liberty in a lot of games. So if I had to play this one, I'd look over the total. Maybe Virginia bounces back, but just not 100% sure after what happened last week.
Yeah, I mean, you don't have much to go on here. I mean, Liberty really hasn't stepped up in competition. They've stepped up and played North Texas, gotten beat up. They gave up 49 points to New Mexico State, who is arguably one of the worst teams in the country. They gave up 62 last week to UMass. Listen, I'm not a Bryce Perkins last week. Look, he was erratic, but I think it had a lot to do with the weather. Virginia will score 40 in this game. Question is, can Liberty put up, 20 and get this game over to total? I'm going to go ahead and say they will. I think this is kind of like a 44-17 type of game, something like that. I think Liberty's going to struggle just because this isn't a defense that's much better than normal. But Virginia's going to put up a lot of points in this game, and I think that's one thing we can have solace in. Their team total is 41. I think they can get to that. I think after last week, they should be raring and ready to go. This is a bad defense.
Troy, Georgia Southern, which is actually a very big game and a good game in the Sun Belt. Troy laying a 1.5, 2 points on the road, total down to 45. I don't have much. I mean, these are two teams that are playing well. I don't really want to bet against either one. I think it will be a lower scoring game. Troy's really slowed it down offensively. We know Georgia Southern, very methodical with the triple option in terms of pace. Should be lower scoring. Two pretty good defenses. But you missed the best of the number. This total's been hammered down. So not a game I'm currently involved in betting-wise.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not really either. I'm not a big Sun Belt guy, but Georgia Southern's playing great football. They're off kind of a weird 2 games. They beat Appalachian State, and then they lost last week. So kind of in need of a bounce back. I'll take a shot with the home dog. I always like a triple option team against anyone, though Troy's a pretty good defense. So this could be a points at a premium type game. I'll lean with Georgia Southern at home as a dog.
All right, next up, we've got Baylor, Iowa State. Iowa State 14 up to 17 now in this game, and I agree with the move. 51 the total. Iowa State's been one of the great stories. I mean, they really have. I know 5-3 is their record, but the 3 losses, I believe they were in every single game they lost. By 3 at TCU, by 10 against Oklahoma, by 10 at Iowa, and they're on a roll right now. They've covered 5 straight. They've won 4 straight. They won at Oklahoma State, beat West Virginia at home, beat Texas Tech at home, crushed Kansas last week, 27-3. Brock Purdy's been great at the quarterback spot. Their defense has really started to turn things up and play better in the last couple of games. The fact they held Will Grier and that West Virginia offense to 14 points. I keep going back to that game. Very impressive stuff from Iowa State. Baylor, I don't trust on the road. Baylor can show up at home, and they have at times beat K-State at home, beat Oklahoma State at home. I don't get that from them on the road. They got crushed by West Virginia on the road, got destroyed by Oklahoma on the road. Not been good for Baylor on the road. Iowa State, even though it's a big number, that's the only way I'd go in this game.
Yeah, I don't understand this total, to be honest. 51, I don't get that at all. I mean, this is like we still have like Zeb Noland at quarterback for Iowa State. Brock Purdy's been he's been Purdy, as they would say. Brock Purdy's been very good. I mean, he is really taking the reins here. He is going to be a good quarterback. I really like Hakeem Butler at receiver. This team is really good offensively, and they're going to put points up. Baylor is not good through the air. I mean, this team, Ian, last couple games, they've been getting shredded defensively. I also think they could put some points on the board. Charlie Brewer, Denzel Mims, JaMychal Hasty. They have some guys that can score the football. 51's too low. This is a price that basically says that Zeb Nolan's the quarterback or Corey Kemp is the quarterback. I'm going over the number of 51.
All right, Navy Central Florida. We've got UCF laying 23.5, 24, 68.5 the total. Does Navy get a stop in this game? That's really the big question. I'm not sure if they do. UCF has sprouted their defensive warts, though, in recent weeks. That was not good at all defensively from UCF against Temple last week. But can Navy take advantage? I mean, their offense has been so poor for most of the season. You wonder if even against a suspect UCF defense they can move the ball. But I'm not convinced Navy can get much more than maybe one stop. The only thing that's probably going to stop UCF is their own mistakes, penalties, and turnovers. I can't see Navy's defense providing much resistance to Mackenzie Milton and this Golden Knights UCF team. So I don't want the dog here. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, I mean, I don't really either. The Naval Academy and look, I don't want to see it. I mean, I love Navy. I love their coach. I love the program. But they've really struggled, and I think they're going to really struggle in this football game. I think Central Florida beats them up pretty bad. It seems like something I've never seen before. Seems like Navy has quit. Last week was pretty pathetic. I mean, you got beat up in that game, and you don't see that often. And I think Niumatalolo, I would have loved to have seen that press conference after the game because he's not a guy that he doesn't swear, he doesn't go crazy. But the truth of the matter is, this team, when they can't run the ball, they are very ineffective. Here's the thing, though. I think they can run the ball in this game. I do. I'm not in love with UCF's defense. This team gave up 226 on the ground last week. They gave up 281 against Memphis. They gave up 320 against Florida Atlantic. I think Navy can move the football. I think this game goes over. I think the only concern you have with an over here is you're going to need UCF to score quick, which they can. But there's a lot of, time comes off the clock for Navy. And that's where, for me, with this game, like at the beginning of the week, I liked UCF. I thought they're going to just roll, Navy's quit. But the Naval Academy doesn't quit. You don't see them quit often. I think they can score some points in this game. I think this game will go over.
All right, over the total. Yeah, it's hard to bet UCF unders right now, especially with we know their offense is great. Now the defense bringing some leaks. TCU, West Virginia. West Virginia, 13.5 at home, 55-56 the total. TCU finally got a win last week, although it was an ugly one against Kansas State. Of course, Mike Collins has now been the quarterback for TCU. They're still banged up, dealing with tons of injuries on defense. I'm not sure that's a team that's a win that gets TCU going all of a sudden. Now you got to go on the road, face Will Grier and this very potent, strong West Virginia offense that's really played good at home this season. This is another one. I don't think I want the dog. It would have to be West by God, Virginia or nothing here.
Yeah, I'm not going to sing this week, but I have no idea what's going on with Texas Christian right now. They have been a team that has completely quit. I don't know what to say about this group. I mean, remember when they almost beat Ohio State? Remember that game, Ian? Yeah, I do too. Good memories. Since then, it's been a mess. You beat Kansas State last week, big deal. This is a team that lost to Kansas. Let's be honest with ourselves, folks. Yeah, West Virginia at home. I think they beat up TCU.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I could only lay it in that game. Miami, Georgia Tech. Georgia Tech 351.5 the total. Real tough game. I mean, I don't love Georgia Tech still. I mean, they've had a couple decent performances, but they beat up Virginia Tech, but they can't stop the run. We already talked about that. Uh, to me, it's a little hit or miss with them. I don't think they've had a ton of quality wins this season. Miami, though, I mean, we saw it last week. They lose to Duke. This is a team that's going sideways here for Mark Richt. It's been a very disappointing season. The quarterback play has been erratic. They're not forcing turnovers like they did last season. They're not stopping people like they did last season. Very, very tough game. These are two teams I'd rather bet against than bet on right now, so I'm leaving it alone.
Yeah, it's pretty much going to be a pass for me as well. I don't really have much to say about the Miami Hurricane other than I think they have to really consider maybe moving on from Mark Richt at some point. I don't think they will right away, but this offense can't move the ball. Defensively, though, they're pretty good. You look over the years, they've done pretty well against this Georgia Tech option. But N'Kosi Perry's going to be the starter this week. I trust them somewhat against this offense. I'm actually going to take a shot with Miami here on the money line, plus 115. I think with Perry, they're a different team. I like them defensively. I think I can keep them in it. I'll take a shot that they could beat Georgia Tech.
All right, Kansas State. There we go. In-state rivalry here. Yeah. This one, we've got 9.5, 10 with this one. Total 45.5. Big man already passing on this game. I don't blame him. I mean, what do? Do you lay 9.5, 10 with K-State? With the season they've had, do you take Kansas when you have no clue how the players are going to react to the news of David Beatty not being retained after this season? Yet he's going to end up sticking around and coaching the rest of this season, which is one of the weirdest things I've ever seen. Who knows what Kansas is going to do? I mean, really, do they care anymore? Does the coach even care about game planning and scheming for the next opponent when he knows he's not coming back next season? I mean, that's another thing you got to think about here with this whole David Beatty situation. But yeah, I don't want anything to do with this football game. Easy.
I will say this. David Beatty was possibly the worst hire in the history of college football. Just a horrible decision. They have to go out and try to make a splash. If I were them, I would go out to the FCS ranks, find a high-end coach, give him some money, and have him come there. They need to make a hire because it's not working right now. It hasn't worked.
No doubt. They got to get better coaching. I mean, it didn't work with Charlie Weiss before that either. Really, Mark Mangino's the last coach that – yeah, Mark Mangino's the last time they had any sort of success, Kansas football, and that was a very, very, very long time ago. It's time to get a coach in there that knows what he's doing. Exactly. Akron, Eastern Michigan, 11-41 the total. Coin flip. I think Eastern Michigan's the better team, but I don't trust them in this price range. They didn't cover as double-digit chalk against Central Michigan, and I don't think Akron's quite as bad as Central Michigan. So I don't trust Eastern Michigan, but I don't think I want Akron, so pass for me.
Yeah, another pass for me as well. I'm not really looking to lay at Eastern Michigan with these kind of prices. Cato Nelson questionable for EMU or for Akron, which that's kind of a concern. You don't really see Eastern Michigan in these price ranges very often. But Akron struggled with Cato Nelson at quarterback. What's it going to be without him? This could be one of those games where they win like 17-0 or something. But I don't have an opinion on this game.
All right, Big Ten, Maryland, Indiana. Indiana laying 155.5. The total in this game. Look, it's simple with Maryland. Easiest team to handicap, one of them in college football. When they can run the football, they can score, and they can win some games. Can they do it week to week against the particular opponent they play? I think they can do it here today. Indiana's run defense has been horrible, 171 yards per game allowed on the ground the last 3 games. Maryland can get the run game going today, I believe, against Indiana. Terrible run defense. On the flip side, Peyton Ramsey and company, against Maryland's defense, I think they could put some points on the board as well. Big game for both teams. Maryland can clinch bowl eligibility with a win. The Durkin stuff's behind them. I do think you get a good effort from them today. I think they like Matt Canada. That's what I'm reading anyway. You're going to get a good effort from Maryland. I would take Maryland. Actually, I did bet Maryland in this game for small. I don't trust Indiana being favored. They have been going sideways. But I do think both offenses are going to be able to move the ball, put up some points. When Maryland's been able to run, they've scored 30-plus points in every game where they've been able to run the football successfully. The 3 times they couldn't in Big Ten play were Michigan State, Michigan, and Iowa. And those are 3 excellent run defenses. They'll be able to run it today. I think we see points. It's been a high-scoring series, these two. I like Maryland, and I like the over a little bit more as well.
Yeah, total coin flip. I pass.
All right, next up, we've got SMU UConn. SMU 17.5 on the road, 66.5 the total. Tell you what, I got a push with UConn against UMass, and I'm like, what? They blew that lead. They don't know how to win yet. And I was considering them against Tulsa last week, and they were even worse in that game. I don't know how you get blown out by Tulsa. UConn managed to do that. There was a little bit of a light at the end of the tunnel. Competitive loss to South Florida. Had a lead against UMass, couldn't hold it. That maybe things were starting to get better, and now they're off the tracks again these last week or so for Randy Edsall's team. So I don't know if I trust them, but is SMU ready to lay 18.5 on the road? I'm not so sure. They did get a nice win against Houston, but I don't trust Sonny Dykes' team in this price range. Another one, sadly, I got to say pass.
Yeah, I like the over in this game. I think SMU will put up plenty of points here. Yeah, this is finally a spot for them where they can face a bad team defensively and really show out. I mean, you look at this season, they haven't really been able to do that. I mean, you look at last week, they did because they put up 45. Why won't they put up 40 plus in this game? I mean, SMU is pretty good on offense, and I mean UConn is arguably the worst defense we've ever seen at this level. It's again something you must look at how awful they are on defense. They're historically bad on defense, and I actually I don't hate their offense. I think Pindell's an okay quarterback. They have some decent running backs and receivers. I think this game flies over the number. I wouldn't be surprised if this is the highest scoring total of the day. I wouldn't be surprised if this is like 48-40 or something. I think both these teams just go back and forth.
Yeah, over. Definitely. You got two teams that suspect on defense.
Total's not too high either. I mean, it's only 65.5 right now.
North Carolina Duke, another rivalry game here. Duke 7.5, 8. Lots of North Carolina money coming in. 58.5 the total. I can kind of see it. North Carolina's been competitive. They've been feisty. They still only have one win on the season, but boy, they're trying every week. They're giving the good efforts. They're staying close with teams. They could do that here. Duke's not the kind of team I like laying in this price range with. So UNC, yeah, I could see it if you like that side here.
What game are we on here? UNC Duke. Yeah, I have no luck with Duke. I'm done. I'm done with those fuckers. Pass.
Yeah, I mean, I like Duke in the short favorite and underdog role. I don't like laying more than a touchdown with them. And North Carolina's been a game team effort-wise every week. Oklahoma State, Oklahoma, 21.5, 21 for Oklahoma at home, 80 the total. I don't trust Cornelius to go score for score with Murray. And this Oklahoma offense. It's plain and simple. I don't think this is the same Mike Gundy offense. And Oklahoma State's been dominated by Oklahoma. The only win Oklahoma State's had recently against Oklahoma was when Mason Rudolph had his breakout game as a massive underdog against Oklahoma years ago. That's it. Other than that, it's been a one-sided series for Oklahoma. I don't like laying points in a rivalry game, but I'd take the favorite. It's too many points to lay, but I don't want Oklahoma State. Be Sooners or nothing.
Yeah, I think Oklahoma crushes Oklahoma State. I don't think Oklahoma State's going to have any answer for that offense. And then you say to yourself, okay, well, I think they're going to score a ton. Can Oklahoma State match them? I think they can. I haven't seen much from Ruffin McNeil's defense to think that they can stop anyone here. I'd only be looking over in this game. I mean, you look at last week's game, prime example. We heard how high the total was, and they're not going to get there, blah, 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 a bunch of stupid bullshit. They scored 97 points. I mean, both these teams throw the ball a ton. And, I mean, look at Texas Tech. They even lost Alan Bowman. I mean, if he doesn't go out, what happens in that game? They might score 110. I think Taylor Cornelius is good enough to move the football. Give me the over, 80.
Yeah, we'll get to that with the Texas Tech game. Yeah, Jet Duffy. Not sure I'm ready to trust him in a backup role there for Texas Tech. Northwestern, Iowa, Big Ten. Iowa laying 10, 43.5 the total. I'm going to keep this simple. Northwestern, underdog in Northwestern games 8-0-1 against the spread this season. The one push was last week against Notre Dame. I don't lay points in Northwestern games. And in fact, I'm worried about the spot for Iowa. You're off two crushing losses in a row. Purdue, Penn State, both down to the wire. Could have won both. You lost both. There's some whispers going on this week that there's a little bit of a down in the dumps mentality potentially going into this game for Iowa. That's not what I want to see. And Nathan Stanley's not a quarterback I love laying big points with. Northwestern, again, you just take the dog blindly. You're 8-0-1 against the spread. This is a dog or pass. Northwestern or nothing for me. I like Northwestern here.
Yeah, I didn't hear that stuff about Iowa. I actually did this game with Drew and Asher the other day. We talked about this game. Look, I like the favorite here. I just don't get the line, and that's my thing, Ian. I mean, Northwestern's such a good team against the number, yet the 10-point dogs. Iowa's a great defense at home, only giving up 10 points a game there on the season. They have an improved quarterback. Their offense is better. I think Northwestern struggles in this game. I just think the line just kind of doesn't. I think it's goading people into taking the Wildcats here, and for good reason. They're a very good road underdog team, but I think I've seen this too many times before. You know what I kind of liken it to, Ian? I liken it to last night in college basketball. Washington against Auburn. That line just didn't make sense. There was too many points. I think everybody and their mother took Washington because Washington's good. But the line just, if it was 6 or 7, I'd be like, okay. But the 10 number just, I think, goaded taking, and everybody took it. I think that happens here too. I lean Iowa, but I don't think you're bad for taking Northwestern. Northwestern, they're a good dog team.
Yeah, it is. And I do have concerns about the mindset for Iowa. Maybe they come out, they're focused and ready to go, and they win and cover. We'll see. South Florida, Cincinnati. Cincinnati, 14-54 the total. Cincinnati, I don't mind laying double digits. South Florida looked dead. That was a lay down and die performance against Tulane last week. Completely non-competitive. One of my favorite plays last week was Tulane plus points against South Florida. South Florida's a bet against team, one-way team for me right now. And I think Cincinnati can roll it up. South Florida now has fallen apart these last 2 games. They were a fraud of an undefeated team before that to begin with. Nothing but wins and close wins against bad competition. They're getting exposed for that now. Give me Cincinnati.
I can't disagree at all.
All right, next up, we've got Arkansas State, Coastal Carolina. Arkansas State, 7. That was my SBR College Football Play of the Day video, by the way, Cincinnati. Arkansas State, 7 on the road, 62 the total. Not a whole lot here. I mean, Coastal Carolina, you never know what you're going to get game to game. Arkansas State, they have gone faster on offense. Finally, they're picking up the pace, the tempo, and Justice Hansen's been a better quarterback for it. Maybe the over here.
Yeah, I think the over is probably the play here. Kilton Anderson, we all know they're a different team with him in the lineup. Arkansas State goes very quick. Over 62 looks pretty good here.
East Carolina, Tulane. Tulane laying 11.5, 53 the total. Tulane laying 11.5 is not the price range I love them in, but you want to take East Carolina? I don't trust them to stop the triple option. I don't trust them to stop the run here in this football game. Maybe this game can get over the total for you if East Carolina and that new quarterback, who's been decent actually for them, can get things going offensively. Lean over. I could only back Tulane. I think they're a hot team right now, but I'm not sure I want to lay 11.5. It's a few too many for my liking.
I don't think Eastern Carolina can stop the run. I don't think Tulane can stop the pass. Holton Ahlers should have a big game here. I lean Pirates. I think they cover this game, but I think the over is a better play. I'll go over 53.5. I think this is like a 31-27 type of game. I'll go over the number. Both teams should move the ball.
Of course. All right, Oregon, Utah, Pac-12 action. Utah laying 4.5 at home, 51 the total. Of course, the big devastating situation, really, for sure, without a doubt, for Utah is Tyler Huntley, broken collarbone, out for the season. Backup quarterback now having to play for this Utah team. He came in last week, didn't really look all that great by any stretch of the imagination here for this team. So going to have to see how he plays here against Oregon. There's a lot of people liking Oregon, I see this week, big man, because of the quarterback issues with Utah. But Oregon seems to be trending a little bit down a little bit the last few weeks. They had a decent start. They suffered some tough losses. Washington State loss, Stanford loss. It's still a tough place to play in Utah, but I don't really want to rush to lay 4.5 with a new quarterback for Utah that struggled in relief of Huntley last week. So tough game. I could see people liking Oregon here, but I don't think I'm one of them.
Zach Moss out as well for Utah, which is a big loss. I'm going to look different in this game. I'm going to look team total under for Utah, 28. I think it's too high. I don't think they score 30 points. I think against this defense, Jim Leavitt, against, with that quarterback, Shelley, and he didn't look particularly good last week. Utah not exactly a quick strike, really fast offense either. I think this could be occasionally low scoring. I'm going to go under 28 for Utah, team total under. I think they score in the 20s, but I don't think they get to the 30-point mark.
All right, next up, we've got Washington State, Colorado, more Pac-12 action. Washington State laying 6 on the road, 61 the total. Now, Washington State did not cover last week against Cal, but they still found a way to win. It was not a pretty performance offensively for a change from Minshew, but they found a way to win. That's what it's all about now for Washington State. I don't want Colorado here. I mean, it's a dubious spot. You're in Boulder, out, cold, wet conditions, laying 6 on the road. It's not no bargain on Washington State, but Colorado's got issues. They're trending downward. Their defense has really gone down the hill. Their offense hasn't been the same with Laviska Shenault sidelined with that toe injury. He's questionable to return today. Steven Montez has looked a lot different without him on the football field. And like I say, Washington State's rolling. Maybe there's a slip up coming. Maybe there's a stub their toe moment coming, but you're betting on ifs and maybes with that. And I don't like betting that way. So I'd still look toward the favorite here before I look to Colorado.
Yeah, one other thing on that Oregon game, this is a very odd number. This number is just screaming for Oregon money. Why is Utah the number going up? Nobody's betting Utah. The only people betting Utah are sharp bettors. Be careful with that one. I feel you on it. It doesn't make any sense, but it's a weird number. Wazoo will beat Colorado. I do have a premonition that I, for some reason, think Laviska Shenault is going to play in this game, but he continues to be questionable. I love Wazoo. I'm a big Mike Leach guy. I think I lead the Gardner Minshew fan club. So yeah, I'm gonna keep it with Wazoo. They keep it moving. A lot to play for with this team. Colorado's given up 40 points or more in 2 straight games. I think Wazoo win big. I'd play 12 in this game if I had to. I think they crush Colorado.
They very well could. Charlotte Marshall. Marshall 13.5, 41.5 the total. I took a little bit of the plus points here on Charlotte. I know it's not a great football team, but they've played a little bit better on the defensive end lately. Can Marshall be trusted offensively to cover a margin of this caliber? We'll see. They are the better team. I think it's a few too many points, though. I grabbed a little Charlotte here.
Yeah, I don't disagree with you. Marshall is a bad pass defense. Charlotte can probably move the ball a little bit. I don't really trust them laying this kind of number, but Conference USA is a tough conference, man.
North Texas, Old Dominion. Speaking of Conference USA, more CUSA. North Texas, 14-66 the total. Has Old Dominion done anything since that win against Virginia Tech earlier this season? Really, not much. They beat Western Kentucky, who are a hopeless team. They're only one win, Western Kentucky, and they were lucky to come back and win that game. That's it for this Old Dominion team. Not good. North Texas is the class here. Yeah, I'm not trying to make a case for the dog. Keeping it simple here.
Yeah, I agree. I'm not going to make a case either for them.
Bowling Green, Central Michigan. Central 751 the total. One word for me. Pass. I got nothing.
Yeah. It's a tough one. I mean, I would think Central Michigan will win and cover just because I think they'll keep the ball on the ground. I mean, Bowling Green are absolutely atrocious against the run. I pass as well.
All right, next up, Colorado State, Nevada, 14-62 the total. Maybe some wind from what I've read in Reno tonight, which could be why the total's gone down slightly. But both offenses are pretty good. It can be good, especially Nevada's. Defensively, really don't trust either team. Lean to the over here. But again, I check on the wind.
Yeah, wind is not an issue in this game. There's no weather issues here. Should be some points this game. I don't know how else to say it. I think Nevada is with Ganji very good offensively. I'd be looking over.
Oh, that's good to know because earlier in the week they were saying it was going to be windy today. Not now, though. That's good. I like the over a lot more as long as there's no wind, and it looks like that's going to be the case. Oregon State, Stanford. Stanford 24-61.5 the total. Here's another over I like. I think Oregon State's offense does have a little more life to it with Luton at the quarterback spot, getting in backs big. Now, Arcega-Whiteside's a big loss for Stanford. No question about that. Not having him there at wide receiver, one of the maybe the best, biggest target for KJ Costello in that passing game. But we're still talking about a subpar, below average Oregon State defense that can give up points rather easily. So Stanford, I think, still going to be able to move the ball rather easily in this game. I don't know about laying 24. It's a lot, but I played it over 61.
Yeah, that's how I would play it too. I mean, that's a good call by you. Oregon State has gone over in 11 of 15 on the road. They're 6-3 to the over this year. Both these teams have been good over teams. Oregon State can't stop fucking anybody. And Stanford should move the ball at will. I actually think Oregon State's got a pretty good offense too. I like some of the running backs. You got to wonder if Oregon State how they let Marcus McMaryion go. What an inept team. But yeah, I think we see points as well. I thought we'd see points last week. It hit kind of a Oregon State started going for it. Fake field goals and stupid shit. But yeah, I think this game goes over as well.
All right, MTSU, UTEP. UTEP, 14-point home underdog, 49 the total. UTEP gets a win last week against Rice, and boy, did they pound Rice in that football game. They get off the schneid. I've been mining for units, mining for profits lately with UTEP. I've taken them a couple of times. I'm going to take them again here. Getting 14 points. Again, they've been a good point spread team for the last month or so after an absolutely abysmal, embarrassing start that's left them undervalued, residual betting value now to back them. And Middle Tennessee State had a ton of red zone issues the last few weeks. They should have scored more against Western Kentucky last week. They didn't. They couldn't finish drives with touchdowns in the red zone. That's an issue when you're laying 2 touchdowns on the road. Even though Brent Stockstill is a good quarterback, they haven't finished enough drives with touchdowns. UTEP might hang around here. I kind of like them plus 14 at home.
Well, they got this new quarterback, this third stringer. He's pretty good. And the mining for units thing was funny. Yeah, I agree. Though I haven't had any success with CUSA, so I'll pass. I'll let you have fun with that one.
I'll have fun with my UTEP. They've been fun for me. I've actually won a couple bets with them. Who'd have thunk it with that team in September, the way they were playing. Auburn taking on Georgia. Georgia 13.5, 52.5 the total. Yeah, I mean, for Georgia, clinched the SEC East with a win last week, but it's not like they can afford to just throw the game here. I don't think they're gonna. It's a rivalry. It's Auburn. I think you still get fired up for that game, but it is a little tricky spot for Georgia just after the big win against Kentucky. But do I trust Auburn's offense to move the ball up and down against Georgia? Not really. Maybe the under in this game, if anything, but sidewise, I'm not involved.
Pass.
All right, next up, we've got Wisconsin, Penn State. Penn State was 9. It's down to 7.5, 53 the total. I took Wisconsin. I know Wisconsin's got issues. Wisconsin's got not the defense we've seen from Wisconsin in years past. No question about that. Alex Hornibrook, doubtful to play in this game due to a concussion. Last check, which means you're probably going to see Jack Cohn at quarterback going into this game. But are you ready to lay 9 with Penn State? I'm not. Not at all. Not even close. It's just a pure fade of Penn State for me laying in this kind of price range. I'll look at Wisconsin here.
I agree. I'm not looking to bet on Penn State right now. Quarterback is hurt, possibly. The defense has not been good. Jack Cohen actually might give you a better chance to win than Hornibrook. Pretty good defense. Yeah, I agree with you.
Yeah, I mean, and it's, again, we're talking about a Penn State team that suffered losses, that's taken away all those preseason expectations, and it's hard to just motivate yourself on a weekly basis this late in the season when you've fallen short of a lot of your goals. And that's trouble for Penn State to trust them in this price range. Mississippi State, Alabama. How about the Mississippi State money? 24 down to 21.5 with them on the road as dogs. 50.5, 51 the total. People not liking the spot for Bama. It's their biggest win. They eviscerated LSU, clearly the best team they've played. But again, you're betting on ifs and maybes with a letdown for Alabama here. And I don't know if Mississippi State, if they fall behind in this game, do they have any sort of offense to come through the back door and get Alabama? I'm not sure. On the road in Tuscaloosa against this team with Nick Fitzgerald, who has played better, but that was A&M at home. That was Louisiana Tech at home. This is now Alabama on the road. Yeah, I can see the spot-wise. It's something set up for Mississippi State, and they do have a very good defense. Can't take that away. That defensive front's going to test Tua Tagovailoa and this Alabama offense, but it's not going to test them enough that I have enough interest to back them here. Sorry.
Yeah, I mean, we heard how great LSU's defense was as well. Tennessee's got a good defense. They gave up 58. We hear about how great all these defenses are, and Alabama just keeps shredding them. Yeah, look. I don't know how much value there's left in betting these, but I'll go Alabama again. I mean, let's remember last week they were closing. They closed at 13.5-point favorites. What a joke! I mean, stop betting against Alabama. It's fucking stupid. They run away. I think the team total comes in too, 36.5. I think Alabama puts up 40 and continues to defy everybody's odds.
All right, New Mexico Air Force. Air Force 13.5, 14, total 56. Air Force is like Northwestern. You bet the underdog in most of their games. You're doing pretty well with Air Force this season. So right away, I don't want to lay these points with Air Force. New Mexico knows the option. Remember, Bob Davie and that New Mexico team ran option offense for years there before they went more up-tempo spread offense this season under the new coordinator. So they know some things about what that's about, that system, and how to maybe stop it. Yeah, I'd lean New Mexico here. Don't love it, but I'd take the Lobos here before I lay it with Air Force.
Yeah, I mean, New Mexico's fighting a little bit. Two similar teams, both run the ball. I'll pass. I don't have much on it.
Vandy, Missouri, 14 for Missouri, 65 the total. Over's taken a lot of money, and I agree. I think Drew Lock against that bad Vandy defense can move the ball. Shermer should do something against Missouri. He's a capable passer at quarterback. Yeah, I could see points here. I agree with the totals move.
Agree.
All right, next up, we're going to go through the 12 p.m. games, then we'll get back to the rest of them. Illinois, Nebraska, another 12 noon game. Nebraska 17, 71.5 the total. Here's another game we should see points. Nebraska in this price range, I don't love. They're off a tough loss against Ohio State, but you're seeing signs of life, signs of progression from Scott Frost's team. I like Martinez a lot. I would lay the points with Nebraska before I take Illinois. Illinois is almost like that X through them. I can't back them at any point right now.
No, they've quit. Everyone loves the over. I can't disagree with it, though. We should see plenty of points here.
South Carolina, Florida, SEC. Florida, 6.5, 7, 54 the total. They're going up tempo now, South Carolina. They finally committed to running a fast-paced offense for Jake Bentley, and the results have been good so far. Florida, we don't know what the quarterback situation's like. Felipe Franks was benched last week. They're probably going to have to go back to him because the guy that replaced him got injured. He's not going to play. So Florida's got issues, but South Carolina defensively has some issues too. I think this offense going faster has negatively impacted that defense. So 54, I'm going to take a chance over the total here. I know Florida's offense, God, they're god-awful to watch sometimes, but I think they can do something against South Carolina here. I'll lean to this one over the total, and I could only take the dog here. I don't want to lay 7 with Florida right now.
Yeah, I like South Carolina. I like Bentley. I don't love Florida. It'll be tough to score on Florida because we know they're very good on defense, but I think it's a back-and-forth kind of game. I think 7 will be valuable in this game. I'll take the Gamecocks.
All right, 12 p.m. What else have we got for that? We've got one more from 12 p.m. Oh, and it's a big one. Ohio State, Michigan. Ohio State, 3.5, 48.5, 49 the total. Something tells me this line's cheap on Ohio State after the loss to Purdue, after barely getting by Nebraska. And I think they have edges. Michigan State's defensive weakness is the pass, and that's really what Ohio State's done all year. They haven't been able to run the ball, but Haskins can move it through the air. I think they can move it, but you can't deny D'Antonio as an underdog has been incredible, and you can't deny that Michigan State is going to come after this game hard today. At home against Ohio State, struggling a little bit for that evisceration that Sparty suffered at the hands of Ohio State last year. That was as ugly a loss as you'll ever have. Tough game. The line looks cheap on Ohio State. I lean that way, but something's not right. Something doesn't smell right, look right, feel right with Urban Meyer's team right now. So I lean Ohio State, but not even close to a wager on it.
Yeah, I considered Michigan State early in the week, and as the weeks went on, I kind of decided, you know what? I think Ohio State's the better team. I think they get back on the horse here. I mean, I think they get back to looking like the team they were at the beginning of the season a bit. But it's a tough game because you really don't know what's right with this defense. Is this defense right? I don't know. Yeah, I'll lean Ohio State, but I won't have anything on it either.
All right, Purdue, Minnesota. Purdue laying 10 on the road, 58.5 the total. Purdue laying 10 on the road's not a
Hey,
yes.
We forgot a 12 o'clock game.
Oh, Tulsa, Memphis. We did. I just saw that now.
I was going to say Lafayette Army, but
yeah. Oh, yeah, that one too. Tulsa, Memphis. Memphis 16.5, 65.5 the total there. To be honest, I don't have much on this game. I mean, Memphis laying this price. Tulsa did show you something last week, but that was against UConn. I don't know if they'll do it against Memphis. Not much on that game.
No, I don't have much in that one either.
All right, next up, we've got Purdue, Minnesota. Purdue laying 10, 58.5 the total. I could only take Purdue. I don't want Minnesota. It's a team that's going down sideways. They fired the defensive coordinator. Purdue could move the ball at will against them. Can Minnesota keep up? I'm not sure. I get schizophrenic laying 10 with Purdue on the road, but if I had to, that's the way I'd go.
Well, I mean, Purdue or Minnesota fired their defensive coordinator, but I still think the offense has some problems too. Am I ready to lay 10 points in a row with Purdue? No. I got a feeling Minnesota plays spirited today. I'll take the Gophers at home, +10.
To rally up. It's a lot of points with Purdue, that's for sure. Cal USC, Cal, 5-point road dog, 46 the total. Cal's been through some barn burners. They beat Washington right down to the wire with Washington State. Usually I love Cal as a dog. I'm leaning Cal as a dog here, but it smells like this could be a tough spot. There's two barn burner games, down to the wire, intense for 60 minutes. Do you have more in the tank against USC? I don't know. Smells like a bad spot for Cal, so I'm off them this week.
I actually like Cal this week. I love them as a dog. Seems like every game they play is tight. I'm going to be in on Cal this week. I think USC is ripe for an upset. Defensively, I don't love them. I like this defense for Cal. They are really good. I thought they were terrific last week. They really they made a weird decision late. What I need to see from Cal is them stop going to this stupid 2-quarterback system. Stick with 1 quarterback. That fucking doesn't work. They did it last week, and the kid threw a fucking interception to end the game. If they stick with 1 quarterback, I think the defense is good enough to hang in this game. Give me Cal as a dog.
All right, Texas Tech. Texas, a small road favorite in Lubbock, 62 the total. Obviously, no Alan Bowman, Jet Duffy, the quarterback, and I'm not sure I trust him here. Do I trust Texas on the road laying points? It's been a little bit of a rough go for them lately. I'd still lean Texas. I think they're a better team. I don't like Tech anywhere as much with Duffy at quarterback. So if I had to play this one, I'd go with the Longhorns.
Yeah, I've been preaching all year. I don't like Texas as a favorite, but I think eventually they'll cover. It's probably the day they do. So, for what it's worth, I'll agree with you.
LSU, Arkansas. Beware of this spot for LSU. 13 on the road, 49 the total. And it's a rivalry game. They always play these two every year. Usually it's on Thanksgiving weekend. But this year it's a little earlier than normal. LSU, obviously they got bombed by Alabama. No shame in that. But now you got to go on the road off that big game, lay 13 on the road against Arkansas. And Arkansas has shown signs of competitiveness at times. Ugly dog, but I hate the spot for LSU. And LSU's not that type of dynamic offense I trust in this price range. So the slightest of leans to Arkansas if I had to make a bet.
Agreed.
All right, next up we've got San Jose State, Utah State 31-65. Utah State can name the score. I mean, if they really want to win this game by 40, they can. And they very well might. Favorite or nothing.
Yeah, I mean, there's a couple things to look at in this game. First of all, Utah State, their quarterback's healthy. He'll be fine. San Jose are horrendous. They're really bad. And Utah State cover numbers like this. This is all they ever do. They cover big numbers. I actually heard something from their coach, Matt Wells. And, Ian, I don't care much about senior day. I don't think it means anything. But according to him, they are really taking senior day seriously. This is a great team this year. They're really behind this year. They go a little out extra for that. I think they beat up San Jose. San Jose is a bad offense. They're a terrible defense. I think the senior day is important to them today. I think they'll go out and bludgeon the Spartans.
All right, next up, we've got App State, Texas State. App State 20 on the road, 45.5 the total. Texas State's actually played a little bit better defensively, and App State, after a covering run of epic proportions, started to slow down in that regard. However, there is good news on the horizon for this team. They are going to have their quarterback back on the field for this game. Zach Thomas upgraded to probable. He was playing so good before he got hurt. Could be trouble for Texas State, but it's a lot of points. Tough game for me.
Yeah, I don't have much on this one. Pass.
All right, next up we've got Georgia State, Lafayette. There should be points here. I like the over in this one, 14.5 Lafayette, 69.5 the total. Their offense has really come along, this team, as of late, and I think you're going to see points here in this game. So I like it over the total.
Yeah, I mean, Lafayette are just firing on all cylinders on offense. I mean, at home they're putting up 48 a game, 560. On the, as far as yardages are concerned. Georgia State's killed it as well. Dan Ellington, I think, is going to play here. I think we see a wild one here. This could be the highest scoring game of the day.
All right, next up we've got Western Kentucky, Florida Atlantic. FAU 19.5 at home, 58.5 the total. Has FAU's season changed just because DeAndre Johnson finally got on the field last week for them? They put him in against FIU, and from that moment on, it looked like a totally different offense. And Lane Kiffin's being a stupid moron all week, saying I'm not committing to any quarterback this week. Who doesn't believe DeAndre Johnson's not playing in this game after the way he played last week against FIU? You're just being an idiot for doing that. It's got to be him. the way he sparked that team against Florida International last week. Western Kentucky may be tapping out. They got one win on the season. And you know Lane Kiffin, if he punch in a late score and run it up on you, he will. I don't want the dog here. FAU and the over makes sense to me, side and total.
Yeah, I don't disagree with you. Lane's just, I don't know what he's talking about there. Yeah, I don't disagree. West Kentucky are pretty bad.
Yeah, they've really started to fall on hard times. Monroe and South Alabama. Monroe 7.5, 61.5 the total. Try to make a case for the over because Monroe really got their offense going last week, but South Alabama is still so hit or miss offensively. But Monroe's defense can be had. I lean over, but there's other totals I like more than this one.
No opinion.
All right, next up, we've got Rice, Louisiana Tech. Louisiana Tech, 24.5, 53 the total. I don't mind laying 24.5 here with Louisiana Tech. It was a bad spot for them. Didn't play well against Mississippi State on the road last week. They get back on track. Rice is dead. And I know the markets have crashed on Rice. Like the Rice is power rated as low as you can power rate a college football team right now. But there is no case that I can make for Rice here. It's Skip Holtz or nothing.
I think at this point in the season, like if you ask me today, right now, who the worst team in the country is, I think it's Rice. I mean, at least with like Connecticut and like UTEP, you can move the ball a little bit. Rice can't move the ball. I mean, Rice are just dreadful. Yeah, I think La Tech gets on the warpath today. It wouldn't surprise me if Rice gets shut out. I think La Tech's defense is pretty good. I think you can actually make some money this year, Ian, on fading Rice and San Antonio against UAB and La Tech. Generally, they get shut out. UTEP as well. Yeah, I like La Tech here. I think they roll.
All right, yeah. I think it's the only way I could possibly look with how bad and ridiculous.
I think the only concern you're going to have late in this is does La Tech put enough points up? They can win 23-0 in this game.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Next up, we've got Florida International, Texas San Antonio. Florida International, 10.5, 48.5 the total. I don't know if UTSA's offense is good enough to even trust them catching double digits. It's just been such a bad offensive team. I think FIU, they ran into a situation where, they go to another quarterback, FAU. He gets hot. He gets on a roll. I could only look FIU. I think they got a better game in them this week.
Yeah, I had FIU last week. It was a tough one. Yeah, I agree with you. San Antonio are terrible. They're a terrible football team. One of the worst offenses in the country. But FIU has had trouble on defense. They got to get that straight. I lean FIU, but not by a ton.
All right, Florida State, Notre Dame. Next up, Notre Dame 16.5. No Ian Book in this game at quarterback, 49.5 the total. It'll be Brandon Wimbush again. Now, people are saying, look out, Notre Dame might be in some trouble here. Wimbush is still capable. He's got a bunch of starts under his belt. I know he didn't play well early in the season, but you got to trust Florida State at this point. You know, in cold elements, but they've been a disaster. They were bombed again by NC State last week, just eviscerated by Clemson the week before. I'm not trusting Florida State, even with the quarterback change for Notre Dame. So there's no way but you're talking about pressure now for Notre Dame. You know, the stakes are high. They're trying to remain undefeated, laying a lot of points this late in the year when you get a little tighter around the neck and the news starts to tighten a bit. So I don't want to lay it with Notre Dame necessarily, but I can't trust FSU to back them either.
Yeah, I don't. I mean, Florida State are historically bad running the football. It's amazing how, Ian, I urge you to go take a look at how bad that this team's been running the ball. There's only two teams since 2014 that have been worse. San Jose State this year and Wake Forest back in 2014. This is a terrible run offense. The offensive line's terrible. They'll get Notre Dame will win today, and that's all they care about at this point. I wouldn't be running to bet on them because I don't think they care about winning big, just about getting wins and getting out of there.
All right, we've got just a couple games left. Southern Miss, UAB 13, 46.5 the total. No bargains to back UAB, but boy, oh boy, have they ever been good. They have been a terrific football team in this conference. Southern Miss has been capable, though, and they've been good in this price range. Very, very tough. I think Southern Miss is a good double-digit dog most weeks, but UAB is really, really good, and I don't really in love with betting against them right now.
I mean, I would check the quarterback situations here. Jack Abraham for SMU, AJ Erdley. Though UAB loves to keep the ball on the ground, I'd have to see where the quarterbacks are with this before I make a shot with it.
Yeah, I agree. So UCLA, Arizona State 11-12 in this game as home favorite, 64 the total. UCLA, I don't know. Things have been really rough on this team, obviously, this season. Arizona State, let's give them credit. They've had a very, very solid season, way better than I expected from them. Believe it or not, I'd probably take them before I take UCLA in this game, but it's a pass for me.
Yeah, I mean, Arizona State's pretty good at home. I think they're kind of due for a margin win. I don't know. Some of these games I have no opinion on. This is another one of them.
And the last one, UNLV, San Diego State. I'm going to do it. It's 24 now. Like, it's gone up 6 points. I'm going to dare San Diego State to win this game by this kind of margin to cover. I know they have Chapman back. Juwan Washington's gotten back at running back. We don't know if Rutgers is going to play or not today for UNLV at quarterback, if he does or not. I think it's just too many points. San Diego State, when's the last time they've covered as a big favorite? When's the last time they've won by this kind of margin? It's been a while. I know it's a ugly, ugly dog, and things have been real rough for this UNLV team, especially on defense. But now at 24, yeah, give me a small shot with UNLV here.
I don't think he plays. I think that's all just talk. He ain't playing. But yeah, I agree with you. I mean, UNLV are awful without him. San Diego State's going to keep the ball on the ground and play defense. I agree with you.
All right, we got best bets to wrap up the show. We got through every game. As always, nobody else does it but us here on the closing line. Big man, what do you got for us for a Saturday best bet?
Well, before we get to that, Ian, I do want to say happy birthday to the Marines. They defend us every day. 243 years. Hoorah to the Marines. Shout out to them and every Marine out there. Thanks for your service and happy birthday. And to all the military people, thank you. For me, I'm going to go back to Baylor, Iowa State. I don't understand this total. I think it's too low. Again, I think it's pricing Iowa State with like Zeb Noland at quarterback and not Purdy. I think Baylor can put some points on the board as well. I'm going to go over 51, Baylor, Iowa State.
All right, Baylor, Iowa State for big man on campus, over 51 for his best bet on this card. I'm going to go back to the Virginia Tech Pitt game. I talked about it. I laid 3 with Pitt. It's 3.5 across the board. Look for 3 if you can. If not, it's still good at 3.5 in my mind. Virginia Tech can't stop the run, and that's a problem against Pitt since they're a very heavy run-based, run-oriented, run-reliant offensive football team. And to be honest, I like that I hear from Pitt saying they're very, very much looking to avenge the loss to Virginia Tech last year, the loss that kept them out of a bowl game a season ago. And I think they get that redemption today. We'll go with Pitt -3 against Virginia Tech. Best bet for the college football closing line. That's going to wrap up the show. A great show, big man. Always fun doing these with you on a Saturday. We'll be back next Saturday with our next edition of the college football closing line. Good luck to all of our viewers with all your plays today in college football and this entire weekend. And we'll see you again next Saturday right here on the closing line.
Thank you.